everyone, and welcome to Go Watch a Movie, episode 97. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Today, we are doing scary stories to tell in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what we're doing. I'm looking forward to it. And I got Season of the Witch just stuck in my head right now. If you look in my window. Hello, ladies. Anyway, but before we get to that, a little bit of entertainment news. Just going to jump right into the controversy because I'm angry and I'm not going to take it anymore. Universal has canceled the release of The Hunt because of very tragic incidents that have happened in the real world. Touchy subject because I in no way want to disrespect the horrible incidents that happened by some horrible people, but this is movies. The whole reason I started this podcast is because movies are an escape for me. They're make believe, they're what ifs, they're different scenarios. They are the best way to put it. They're escapes. They get you away from all that fucking nonsense that crazy people and horrible people are doing out in the real world. And for that hour and a half to 2.5 hours, 3 hours, if it's in game, you can sit there and forget about all that and disappear into this world that people work so hard on. But now we won't get to experience that because of some insane, a few insane fucking assholes. Pardon my harshness. What do you think about this?
I was pretty sad about it. I understand it. I understand they want to be respectful. I don't really think it connected.
Not at all.
With the events. And there's like another movie coming out with like people, like a family trying to kill the bride. So, I mean, why not?
They're not stopping.
Yeah, why not stop that one too? It's anything with killing it should be stopped then. But I don't know. I don't think they should. I understand them wanting to be respectful, but I don't think they should, unless there's some stuff in that movie that we haven't seen in the trailer that's specifically linked to or would be disrespectful to those events. Yeah. But still, I don't think, and I hope it's not a permanent, like, because they spent a lot of money on it, obviously.
Yeah, I hope it comes out eventually.
I hope it's not a permanent thing. I hope it does eventually get snuck out. But I mean, there's other movies that had controversy, like the one where they were making fun of Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is, and I mean, and nobody cared after it came out. It's like, it's not a big deal. So it
comes and it goes. Like the people who enjoy it. The people who hate it are gonna,
Yeah, so you don't have to go watch it. I mean, but yeah, I know it is sad, but it is what it is nowadays.
Yeah, we can't do anything about it. It's just it sucks that, and like once again, I have to reiterate, I'm not taking anything from anything that happened to the families and all that. I deeply sympathize for those people. But this is a movie, and the rhetoric that's being spread out there is. I'm not even going to get political. I'll just cut that there. I'll stop it. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of cancellations and so on and so forth, this is a cancellation on a different part. May not be canceled yet, but the Disney Fox merger, as we could suspect, and after the Dark Phoenix is showing a little bit of shakiness for future Fox releases. Apparently, the Disney exec saw New Mutants, and after that showing said, yeah, we don't think that's going to go over too well with audiences. Mm-hmm. It may or may not come out. And along those lines, they went down a list of things because apparently Dark Phoenix put them $170 million in the hole. Mm-hmm. Which, that's a lot of money.
It is.
But not for Disney, but still, you don't want to lose money on these things. So that made them rethink a lot of movies coming out with the Fox deal. Yeah, I don't know, man. I foresaw this, and a lot of people foresaw this. Disney has a certain way of doing things, and
yeah, I mean, I was actually looking forward to that one, the New Mutants one, just because it was going to be different.
It was a horror.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to promote the different ones because it's going to be something original. You want to see that, so just keep into like the Disney. Like I don't want to say like they have like just a one type of thing that they can only do. Mm-hmm. I know it's always got to be family somewhat orientated, but I mean, branching out doesn't hurt. You can always have like a different, part of Disney, different part of Disney that does a little bit darker, and
which they do have a subsidiary that does our movies. Mm-hmm. Not New Line. Go ahead, talk. I'll find it.
Yeah, I just don't think that everything should be along with that one little playbook they want to use for everything. I think they should. I know it works for them for a lot, and they're making money off of it, obviously, so that's why they're wanting to do it. But I think they should do some experimenting, and like you said, they could have like a separate little unit.
Touchstone. Disney owns Touchstone at Touchstone Pictures, and they normally put out their R-rated films through that. Tombstone and all that stuff came out under the Touchstone umbrella, which is still owned by Disney, but it gives them the opportunity to release,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think they should branch out. I think they should take some risk instead of just always Mickey. I don't want to see Mickey all the time. He's good some of the time, but all the time not so much. Could you imagine if you woke up? What do you mean? Could you imagine waking up every day and then Mickey's just right there all the time? You go to work, Mickey's right next to you. You're like talking in that
for a while.
I don't know. It could drive a person crazy.
Another thing, and we may be the curse here, in the same article, Mr. Watch Bible, insert that.
The Shadow of the Bellows.
Gonna create Thor. He's the Thor Love and Thunder. His movie, Jojo Rabbit, that we also did a trailer on, Trailer Sodes episode on. Trailer Sodes is our sister show. We break down trailers. They looked at it and said, despite being a potential major awards contender, is being seen as a little too edgy for Disney brass. I mean, imaginary Hitler, I get it. Yeah. And they don't want, someone connected to them, maybe. So he may go through the same thing Mr. James Gunn went through because of a movie, which, don't know, man.
I think people need to remember that this stuff is art. I mean, not all art is going to be appealing to everybody.
Or Cinderella, like it's all different. Yeah,
it's just different strokes for different folks. Take a risk, take a leap of faith. It's art. You might surprise somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure. That's well put, sir. I think, and that will bring us to, since we're ranting and raving and getting a little bit too political,
getting angry,
to trailers. You first or me, sir?
Go right ahead.
I have one that is, a little bit comical. It was, and I don't think it's going to be a real movie, actually, now that I think about it. Ronda Rousey, actually, I'm 100% sure it's not going to be a real movie, put out a trailer of Tables. Tables. Like, now this is just her basically beating up and fighting tables.
Like, are they sentient tables or are they just like stationary dead tables?
They appear to be sentient.
Okay, like that movie Rubber, like that was about a tire. Okay.
And she's just like beating the shit out of these tables who are attacking like zombies. It just made me laugh to no end. And yeah. It's very funny, and like I said, I know it's not going to be a real movie, but it's hilarious. And if you get a chance, I'm not going to probably put it up on the site, but if you get a chance, check the trailer for Tables.
Alrighty then.
It's a little entertaining.
Yeah. All right. So you know how like some older guys always have that dream where like they're going to retire, they're going to get the boat, and they're going to go sail around the ocean in a boat.
Me.
Yeah. Okay. There's a movie about this.
Oh.
It's called Mary, and it is a horror movie, and it has Gary Oldman in it, and he plays a character. I think he's like getting close to retirement, or if he is retired, I don't know. Couldn't really tell from the trailer. And he sees this boat, and he's like, "This is the answer to all my dreams, you know, and my family's dreams. We're all going to get on this boat, and we're going to go sail somewhere." So he buys this boat, and he goes sailing somewhere, and it's a small boat. It's not like a yacht where there's like all the like chambers, and it's not like Titanic or something. It's like it's just a little tiny, maybe decent size, maybe just big enough for a family and a couple beds or something boat. And they're sailing around on it, and all it's like I guess the one of the younger daughters starts talking to herself, and one of the older daughters is like, yeah, she's been talking to herself. And so the younger daughter just takes a wine glass or something and just slaps the other girl in the face with it, and it just breaks and shatters all over the place because she's mad. And then it cuts to like, there's something strange on this boat, like, you know, no shit, she just slapped her sister in the face with the glass. And then like all this creepy stuff starts happening, and then I guess they start doing some research somehow while they're on the boat out in the middle of nowhere, I guess through the paperwork on the boat, and they find out, you know, every time this boat goes out, you know, people start disappearing, or like there's deaths or whatever. I guess the boat is basically haunted. So it's basically Gary Oldman and his family on a boat, a haunted boat, a tiny haunted boat. So not only are you like lost out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, but you're on this little claustrophobic boat. And I think combining the two of those is going to be pretty fun.
Hell yeah.
Pretty scary. So that is my trailer. It's called Mary. It's called Mary.
Is that, how do you spell that, Mary?
Mary.
Mary. Okay. Damn, I'm gonna check that out. Is it like the remember that Robert Redford movie where he was like just one man on a boat and then he got into a wreck, and I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I did. I don't think so. I mean, it's more like there's like a whole family on this boat.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's like a lot, and they were on the boat the whole time. I don't think there's no getting off the boat.
Gotcha.
Like they're trapped on a boat with all kinds of crazy.
All right, Mary. I'm gonna have to check that one out. That will bring us to scary stories to tell in the dark. Watchbot, if you would not mind.
The shadow of the Bellows family has loomed large in the small town of Mill Valley for generations. It's in a mansion that young Sarah Bellows turns her tortured life and horrible secrets into a series of scary stories. These terrifying tales soon have a way of becoming all too real for a group of unsuspecting teens who stumble upon Sarah's spooky home. Directed by Andre Ovredal, it stars Zoe Margaret Coletti, Michael Garza, Gabriel Rush, Dean Norris, and Austin Zaja.
Thank you, Watchbot. Can I start by saying, so I sat down, I am not a big horror movie guy. Mm-hmm. You know, like I watch them. I love what the Conjuring universe is doing. Mm-hmm. It Follows is one that still haunts my dreams. I'm just, they're just not what I run to, you know. Mm-hmm. But so with that said, they scare me, you know.
Right, they're supposed to. Good. I'm glad they do, because I've gotten to the point where they don't always do it for me.
An insane overactive imagination. So when I come home and the house is completely dark, and then I hear, I'm like, what the fuck? Don't you do this to me. Don't you put that on me. And you know, so I normally, other than for the podcast, and if a friend invites me to go watch one, whatever, I'll go watch a horror movie. But it's not normally something I'm drawn to. But with that all said, when I go into a horror movie and I look at my ticket stub and I see PG-13, mm-hmm. I kind of, my balls drop back down. kind of straighten back up, like, oh,
you can handle this.
Oh, this is for chillins. Taken care of. I'm not afraid of this at all. I don't know. Is that wrong to think that way? Like PG-13 is going to be less terrifying?
Absolutely not. They have changed, like back in the olden days, what rated R was and what rated R is now, as well as PG-13. There are slight differences.
Yes,
but I mean, and I think it's also based on the time. Like PG-13 now, like 13-year-olds now can handle more than maybe a 13-year-old back in the day. Sure. So they might be adding a little extra, little scare in there for the young ones, so they can handle it, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah,
this movie did not do that.
Did not. I do feel overall that it was geared towards a younger audience.
It seemed that way, for sure.
It had a younger audience feel. I don't think an aficionado of horror movies is going to feel like this is for them if they're an adult.
I hear you.
But
I will say this.
I think they're still going to like it.
Going back to trailers real quick, there was an older couple sitting there, and I will point this out. The last few movies I went to, it's been me and like one other person. This one, there's like fucking 40, 50 people in here, which shocked me. But I guess horror does that. People like to be scared. But there's just two older people sitting in front of me, and the trailers come on. And after every trailer, the wife was like, and the husband will go, like their way of judging every trailer is like Gemini Man. It finishes. Will Smith says whatever line he does in the trailer. She's like, He's like, what the fuck are wrong with these people?
You've been married for a while. You communicate in different ways.
It was, oh man, but I was laughing so hard at those two. And then, what was the trailer? One actually made her say, that might be a good one. I think it was Ready or Not, the other trailer where the lady's getting hunted after marrying the guy. It's like, oh, that might be a good trailer. And he still goes, Anyway,
sold on it.
Back to Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. Yeah, I kind of got a feeling, and I don't know. I've said before, I loved it, the original and the remake. I enjoy Stranger Things, but all these other movies where kids are running around with walkie-talkies trying to solve mysteries like Scooby-Doo and the Gang. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it's too much or what.
I kind of enjoyed the fact that they went back in time. I don't think it would have been the same if they had did it like now. I think there's too much technology, that cell phones and looking stuff up. I mean, if you have a cell phone, you can just look something up. Why would you go to the hospital to try to get those records and stuff like that? Yeah. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have to go through the whole, I found this wax thing. I can put it on here and we can listen to her voice.
But does it have to be chillins?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, that's what scares. I mean, children are more scared of stuff than adults are. So it just makes sense to use children because they could, the fear is going to be more like there, more palatable than it is if an adult's going to be like, see a fat woman standing at the end of the hall and going to be like, what's that fat woman doing down there? but the kid's going to be like, oh, crap, and start running away.
All right.
You know what I mean? But like now, like if you were to do it now with kids, their reactions are going to be so much more blunt and like rude.
Pale, smiling fat lady. Why you naked? I will help you need clothes. Oh shit! There's another one of you down this hallway. Why the fuck are y'all surrounding me? What's going on?
Yeah. I just think it was better that they wanted to use kids. If they had made it rated R and used kids, I think it would have been much more
agreed,
much more successful. But again, I understand they were gearing it towards the younger audience, which is fine. But yeah, I think the fact that they went back in time, I think it was like late 60s.
60,
It was like
60, yeah, actually 68.
yeah, it's like super excited.
We're stuck in this era because, I mean, we did, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was 69, so.
Yeah, so, and also they did things like, I mean, they could have went a different route and made like the dreamy stranger who was driving through town, escaping his situation. They could have made him black, right?
Yeah.
And then it would have been, and then think of that, how that would have affected it. And it's also kind of going along with the times, because right now they're attacking people of Hispanic descent. Here we go, getting political again. But it seems to mirror what's going on now, as opposed, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's tying into the now as opposed.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up though, because it's kind of. I felt like that whole part of the movie was a it didn't really hold weight. Like I don't think they needed him to be Hispanic. He could have just been a draft dodger, and I don't think it would have changed anything. I think
they were trying to. They wanted to show a little bit of the racism that was going on back then.
I mean, they did with the whole. I'm not going to say it, but that phrase, but like it happened and it was done. There was no more instance of. Then it fell into you were a draft dodger.
Yeah, but the cops still treated him differently, and you can see how he was treating him differently because he was. Of another national, so, but I don't know. I mean, I think they toned it down because it was kids.
Yeah,
because it was geared towards kids. So I think that's why they didn't go with like an African American as like that role. Not that they needed to. Yeah. I'm not saying that they needed to. I'm just saying, like, man, if they had, this could have been a whole lot rougher. I mean, but they went with like not to say that that type of behavior towards another.
I mean, it was all bad if you weren't Caucasian. It was pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like they toned it down. I think it could have just been a lot rougher. I felt like it would have been rougher, but maybe that's just my perception of it.
No, I agree because I was sitting there thinking, like, it would have been a lot worse than we fucked up your car. It would have been a lot further than that. And because I mean it was so rare. Like when I first saw him appear, I was like, wait a minute, this is 1968, right? Like what is going on here? Like he's in a bad like this is a different kind of horror movie now. But yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like it could have been a lot worse, and yeah. So let's get into this movie. As Watchbot explained, the girl with a disease was locked away in her basement. She told stories to the kids. She was wronged. She came back as an evil spirit, angry, and write stories that kill people. Did you have a favorite story of this of hers? Of Sarah's? Was that Sarah? Yes.
Well, favorite. Well, I did like I enjoyed the scenes with the guy who fell apart. Put himself back together the most.
Jingle?
Yeah, because that was nutty. that was just.
He was my favorite too.
That was just crazy. Those chase scenes and all that was just pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite story out of the movie.
My only issue is I want it so badly. Like, and as I explained, I'm not a guy who likes scary movie, but I want it to be frightened in this movie. But the endings of all these stories were so anticlimactic. I was like, damn it.
Really?
Yeah. Like the Scarecrow one. Let's spoilers. Spoilers are about to happen, guys. So if you haven't seen it, go and see it. Restart us when you get back. The Scarecrow one. Like Henry was scary. And I love the connections. I will admit that. I love how they connected all the stuff. Henry, the Scarecrow, was part of Sarah's family. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you made that connection when the main character girl goes back in time. One of the guys is named Henry, so I'm assuming he was Henry the Scarecrow and just got changed, because she was pissed at him. Anyway, Henry the Scarecrow. I was like, oh shit, when this thing comes alive, oh God, it's on. It is on and popping. And all of a sudden, stab back. You're a Scarecrow now. the scenes leading up to it were tense, and you know,
well, I think that was what was for me. I think most successful about it was the build up. Yes. Maybe it was a little bit anticlimactic, but I think the build up was really good on some of those scares instead of just going. And they did some good jump scares, which is it's child's play, no pun intended, but. Like there was a scene when I think Chuck's character was hiding in the closet because he wanted to scare his buddy.
That was awesome.
And he gets in there and he's closing. And he's like, I'm going to scare him. And he cracks the door open and there's light. So you know that room was dark. So that little subtle thing, like realizing
that fucking Doberman Pinscher staring at him, unnerved me.
That was a great scene because it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like you open the door and then boom, there's light, or like there's a loud silence or a loud sound, or somebody opens the door and there's some creepy thing staring at you. It was subtle. It was there's just a little beam of light coming through, and you're like, wait a second, because you realize it just as he's realizing it. Yep. That's not the room I just jumped out of. So I don't know. I think the subtler stuff worked in this. Plus, it is PG-13, so they had to do something other than just give us gore and I don't really complain
about too much gore, but I wanted some more in this movie. Like I don't know what it was. But you're right though. The build-ups were so much more for me than the actual payoff. I enjoy it, like, because the whole took my toe. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna get fucked.
I don't understand that scene. In that there's a part like, who takes a pot of stew out and just starts eating it without warming it up first? That was weird to me. And then he gets the whole toe in his mouth.
Yes.
Like he was just, I'm gonna take a big bite of this toe. It was weird. Like I don't understand. That was just weird to me. I wanted something. It took me out of the movie for a bit, but other than that,
but it's like, why? It's like, hey, bitch, your toes in the kitchen. I spit it out. It's still there. I may have a few teeth marks, but it's in there. You can get it back.
And I did like how he got snatched. I mean, that was somewhat inventive.
Yeah, but even that, I was like, what happened to him? What am I supposed to be like? It's no longer scary. He's taken in the void. He can still fight his way out, as far as I know. Like, and I understand. I get it. I did love all the characters, though. I thought all the characters were unique and had their own cool personality.
They seem super realistic. You hit it perfectly. They all had their unique personality. And strangely, this almost sounds like an insult, but they seem like extras. They didn't, you know what I mean? Like they didn't seem. I don't mean that in a bad way though. They seem like they weren't. Like that first scene when you see all of them together. Like the guy drives up in the car, and then they're walking or something. And then she rides around on the bicycle. It introduces them all like in this ordinary way, but they just seem like they were just part of the town. They didn't seem like they were these extraordinary individuals that they end up being.
Yes,
they were very ordinary. I think that was really smart to do, because everybody kind of feels like like they're, for the most part, they're like the ordinary people in town. Not that there's these extraordinary folks who are
I've never
dressed up like Superman or something.
Why horror movies especially go for like the most super attractive person in the world?
Exactly. You don't need a supermodel. And everybody's always like a supermodel.
Get an average everyday person, because the person you're trying to scare will feel more connection with that person.
And again, not to say that these people were unattractive. They were attractive people. They just seemed like extras.
If Stella was of age, okay, I wouldn't kick her out of bed. I'm just saying. I might edit that. I don't know. But yeah, Michael Garza. Let's start with Stella. What did you think of Stella?
Stella did great. I thought she did an awesome job. I think she's a good actress. The actor, Zoe, I guess her name is. Great actress. Everything she was doing, I was in. I was like, yeah, you're doing. I mean, this is believable.
And I love how they tied in the fact that she wanted to write. And she was the person who released the character who used writing as her tool of destruction. Mike, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did think, you're talking about Michael Garza.
Ramon.
I think did Ramon seem a little too dreamy to you?
Ramon was a lot of things to me.
Okay.
Some I can't say that because it might get me in trouble by people. I'll talk to you about off air. Remind me. Okay. But Ramon, I don't know, man. Like
he seemed too dreamy to me. Like he was playing.
Once again, like I said earlier on, he seemed out of place. I just don't understand that angle. Like I get it because it wasn't tackled enough for me. Like I if you're gonna insert that and make it a point of tension, go a little harder
with the running away from the draft. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and even his race.
They do the race thing. I think again, like I said before, I think they just not necessarily wanted to tone it down, but they wanted to connect with something that's actually happening now. And then I feel like they did close it up fairly well, that angle, because of the whole, I'm afraid of, that's what the book is going to use to, attack me, because he basically is kind of a coward. Mm-hmm. And then he does basically overcome that by the end of the movie by, jumping on that bus. So I feel like that was the whole point of that. I don't know, maybe if they could have done it a little differently, it would have been more, extreme or really hit home for more people. But I think they did tie it up for the most part.
For sure.
Like, yeah, I'm a coward, but, he's afraid to admit that. And maybe he finally got to admit that through, his little...
He tries to be this tough guy.
Yeah, and he does run. You can't stand to fight that thing. So, maybe that wasn't the wrong thing to do. So, but you can't run forever. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And he goes up against a thing that can, whereas he is a human, so he can't run forever. Like, yeah, that's a perfect way to put that. Aggie. What do you think of Aggie?
Yeah, it was all right.
For a throwaway?
Yeah, I don't know if he was... Yeah, I guess he was kind of... Of the
group, he was the biggest throwaway because he goes first. He's the intellectual, which is normally what that is, a throwaway. Not that I feel that way, just saying.
I feel like he's probably going to go, but I felt like they all had their own little niche, and that they were all like their own perfect little character that they all played off each other really well.
Yeah. Chuck, some of them, he was hit and miss for me.
Yeah, sometimes he was funny, sometimes he wasn't.
Other times I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. And Tommy was perfect. He got what he deserved. Yeah. I think everyone cheered when he became Henry, the new Henry.
Yeah, and I also liked when how he's like the bully, and then he goes home and his mom's kind of bullying him in a way. So you kind of understand why he acts out or is the way he is.
I was sad at first because I was like, his acting is horrible, or he's supposed to be drunk right now. I hate that I had to, because of PG-13, they can't show a kid drinking. So I hate that I had to try kind of decipher that, and it may be on me because other people may have got it right away. He's clearly a drunk kid, but I was like, he's a kid, so he's probably not drunk. But apparently he was a tougher kid than I thought, because he got drunk and then still went home to his mom, who was like, "Get drunk again, Tommy."
It's Halloween.
Yeah, Chuck's sister. What do you think of Chuck's sister?
Ruth was okay. Again,
that was one of my favorite stories.
Well, you're okay. I feel, again, like I said, felt like an extra, sort of, kind of, not like a main character.
Yeah, even though she was the pretty attractive sister, she wasn't the standard. You know what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yeah. All right. I'm starting to understand you now.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the whole slowly, because they set it up early. She has even before, I think 2 or 3 scenes before her story starts getting written, they set up the whole spider thing. She gets the pimple. The kids are still going out to do stuff. And and because at that moment
I
I
was
was
dressed up like Spider-Man.
a spider man. But yeah, I love like because that is arachnophobia is a thing that many people have, and if they were coming out of your face, dear Lord, all bets are off at that point.
I don't understand how the story was overridden there, though, and she survived.
Yeah,
I know they said, well, she's going to be in the hospital the rest of her life because she's crazy now.
Yeah, which I hated. But
then at the end, she's just smiling in the back of a car.
Yeah, I hated that line. He like, she's going to be in the hospital the rest of her life. It's like, why? Yeah, I get it. Spiders grew out of her face, but I think some therapy, she might be able to get over that and, try and work things out. Whereas hers was one of the only ones really that could be saved, I guess.
Yeah, because all the other ones, they wanted to take you away somewhere or somehow or make you disappear.
You couldn't get rid of the toe lady. So like, what are you gonna do against her? And then the fat pale lady with the big smile. What are you gonna do? Her? Like, I don't. Yeah. And then the Jingle Man. You just run from that fucker. Like what? More time, bye, bye. Whatever. That was great. Are you fucking kidding me? I would have if a head falls down a chimney and is talking to you. What do you do? Let me ask you that first. What do you do?
I don't know if I kick the head and run or what. That's probably my first reaction. Is going to be like, what? Kick the head and run. I
take that some bitch. As it mumbles my guy, out the fucking window. And every fucking limb that follows is getting the same treatment. The little arm, the torso, the pelvis without a penis, all of it's just going out the window. I was like, you're not standing at this police station even after I unload a clip into you. Yeah, I don't know. That was my favorite scene though, because that thing didn't play around. It popped out and snapped his neck instantly. There's no messing around. And then I love the scenes that followed of it smashing the car.
Yeah, I love how it contorted itself and ran in awkward ways, and that was very impressive. I like that character.
What's through the fence? Like, yeah,
to the bars in the prison. Yeah.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Oh,
overall story. What'd you think?
Like I said, I felt like it was maybe for a younger audience, or definitely for a younger audience. I think it could have been creepier. I think it could have been a little bit scarier. I think story-wise, I think it was tame. I mean, I think it was a good idea, but I felt like it wasn't as scary as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, maybe we call scary stories.
Right. I just felt like it, and like I said, it's probably for a kid, yes, but for me, I just felt like it was tame. But I think what they did with them was good.
Yeah, I will agree. For a guy who is easily frightened, I was not frightened by this movie, but I enjoy the connections that were made. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I like how much the main character Stella related to Sarah, the ghost, and how that story kind of intertwined between those two. I enjoyed that aspect.
And I liked Sarah's family connections and what really happened. I think that was decent, a decent enough surprise to maybe take away any non-scariness that was in the movie.
Yes.
Like I said, the movie I enjoyed more the characters and how they interacted with each other. For sure. The revealing of the mystery. Right. Yeah, everything was just fun to watch. I mean, there was nothing in it. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't expect to be frightened, so I didn't really get that. There was a couple of jumps in there, but overall, I just felt like the characters were more interesting than the scares were. So I wouldn't watch this movie for the scares. I would watch
a horror movie.
Yeah, I would watch. Like, I wouldn't watch it for that. I would watch it because the characters are cool. Their story is fun. There's a lot of great character designs, and they just get better as you go further along in the movie. You know, there's some good action with the chase scene. I mean, there's a lot of good in this movie. It just wasn't for me scary, like a scary movie.
I have to. We normally don't bring up the complete ending of movies, but I have to bring up the ending of this one because I was so, I don't know, off-put by it. Like the whole, I know your story, now leave us alone. And okay. I don't know how, like, I in my mind, I was like, okay, this is PG-13, so there won't be now she whips her apart. She's like, fuck you. Or as I was in my head, being a quote unquote aspiring writer, I was in my head like, as she said, use blood. And she pricks herself and uses blood. And as I saw the blood starting to dry out and not show more, I was like, okay, now she says more, and she pricks herself again, and then now she says more and she makes her freaking bleed herself dry, you know, and that's how she kills her. That's what I saw, but instead it's like, no, sunshine and rainbows, we're all friends now.
But those two guys, like, some of the people are still missing, so there's still some sadness at the end of it, even though there was a little bit of happiness too, because like I said, that girl was just sitting in the backseat smiling and going on a road trip with them. And
Stella's like, they're missing, but we can find them.
Which I don't think they can. Like, I don't know what witchcraft is going on with that book, but I feel like it was mainly connected with Sarah. And if Sarah feels, you know, okay with things now, and she's like, okay, my people know what really happened. It wasn't me. It was my family. Then, I don't know. I feel like I think it's over. I don't think, because I almost felt like they're saying, okay, we're going to make another movie, but what's it going to be about? Because Sarah's out of the picture now. And you got that book, but I mean, the book,
we're fighting her unreleased monsters, you know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That part just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I guess I've been conditioned to horror movies ending like right when you think you got it beat. Nope.
Yeah. It didn't give you that traditional horror. It kind of did in a way, but not really.
Yeah. Let's head over to Rotten Tomatoes before we give our own ratings. Tomato meter. God damn.
Yep, it's up there.
81% fresh. Out of 144, audience score 71%. This movie is doing amazing on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is a good movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just saying it's not scary.
Well, yeah, I have to agree. I was entertained, but it is not scary. Like I said, that whole scene with the big lady,
it was creepy.
I was laughing.
Yeah, because that was weird. That was very weird. Yeah, and that was it. Very, very anticlimactic.
Slowly, you got some Twinkies.
No, okay, I'll just eat you then.
Exactly. You're my Twinkie now. Go watch or not for you, sir.
I say definitely go watch, but again, don't go for the scary. Go for just a really cool story.
I have to agree. I was thoroughly entertained through the whole thing. Sadly, I was not frightened, which I didn't want, but it's what I expected. But yeah, go watch for sure. Very entertaining, very clever story. They do a great job of connecting the dots and giving you something to think about. That will bring us to where you can find us. You can find us at gowatchmovie.com, Apple, Spotify, Speaker, all those podcasting places. And please leave a review on Apple and subscribe on Spotify and Apple and subscribe on YouTube. We put the podcast up there on YouTube, which I said it before, but I'm serious. We're going to add more stuff to YouTube and make a more visual something or other. But for now, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and take my word on faith. I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. You got that faith, right? But yes, that's where you can find us. GoWatchMovie.com. All the trailers are up there. The stories I've mentioned are on there. And yeah, the podcast is there as well. But yeah, just like, subscribe, and all that stuff. We much appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of those who have. And yeah, that is episode 97. And scary stories to tell in the dark. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Go watch a movie. If you look out the window.